Yeah, Steve Linder here. Today we're going to see how to tile over an existing tile tub surround. Provided the tile is in good shape prior to tiling over it, there's no need to rip out the old cement board and tile and replace it. As long as the tile is in good shape and the substrate underneath it is not rotted or soft, you can actually just tile right on over it, and it makes the job a whole lot easier. So we're going to start here now. I'm going to show you we're actually going to use a thin set mortar, a flex bond mortar, that makes it very easy for you to tile right over the existing tile. So come on along and see how it's done.
Let's mix it up until it's got a nice creamy consistency, but pretty stiff. Then you gotta let it slake for about 10 minutes. You just gotta let it sit there, and it will get hard, stiff. Then you mix it up again one time, and it's ready to go. It's got a working life for about, I don't know, an hour. If you keep stirring it, you get an hour and a half even. And then I trowel it on with a regular trowel, and I trowel it up. I'll show you that when we get in there. I'm using Flex Bond. I'm going tile over tile. Flex Bond is a little more flexible. I'm using it on porcelain tile, and it keeps the tile from cracking. But I like Flex Bond because it's polymer modified and sticks very well to the porcelain tile that's already on the wall, because I'm tiling over tile. So, and as I said, I do have a, sorry, turn my camera the wrong way. I do have a standard tile cutter, which makes pretty easy cuts in the middle of the tile. But I also have a diamond saw that I can cut right at the edge if I need to cut little strips like these. I'm actually cutting them off. You never want to have less than half a tile on the wall. If you need to use less than a half a tile, you should have been centering the first tile so that you end up with a bigger cut than a half a tile on either side at the end. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, hi, Steve here, and today we're going to talk about tiling over tile. I'm actually tiling over a ceramic tile, a shower surround, as well as a ceramic floor. The substrate was in good condition. The tiles, there were no loose tiles or bad cement board behind it or drywall behind it. If the drywall or the substrate is bad, obviously don't tile over it, because you're just tiling over bad tile. But in this case, we had a solid floor, and I've since gone ahead and put this marble down and some split stones at the threshold, as well as in the tubs around. I did the same split stones on the floor. I will do this threshold here in either the tan ceramic that I'm using or the black marble. We did this wall. This was over a blue and white tile wall, and this is glass and stone tile from Home Depot, and this is standard doll tile, 6-inch, and you can see this is what we were going over. It's an old, not bad, but the surface, as I said, was in good condition. So I've just been using standard thin set mortar, a Flex Bond mortar. You can see it here in the bucket, and I spread it over the old tile, get a nice even coat, and then score it off. So just to give you an idea how that works, I stir up the substrate. I take the cement, I put it on the wall, I cover the wall, so I put an even coat on there right to the tile. So here we are again. We've got the thin set spread. You can see I've gone above this row of tile, so I'm not going to have to worry about buttering tile after the fact. And you can see I'm very careful at the edge not to leave big globs of glue. Or thin set cement, because I don't want it to come spilling out the edge. But I do get it close to the edges. So I get it all set on here. And then once again I score. Leave the ridges for the tile. Let's make sure I'm not leaving too much. I'm not having awkward thick or thin spots. Just running the teeth up once. And I do it a little bit at the edge as well, just to make sure I'm leaving a good surface. That's basically all scored and ready. And then I just go put the next row in. My cut row at the edge is actually 3 3/4 each. I just cut them outside and bring them in as I'm going. So anyway. Now just keep in mind that when you're doing this kind of stuff that neatness counts. And if you get a lot of thin set squeezing out between your cracks and stuff, and you don't clean it up before the thin set has set up, you're going to have a hard time later when you go to grout it, because your grout lines are going to be full of thin set. So I use these other larger spacers, and I just run them in the crack and throw them onto a piece of cardboard on the ground. If I have, and that it gets the cement onto the little spacer, I drop it right onto that piece of cardboard, and I just let it set up overnight. By tomorrow, the thin set will crack right off of the spacer, and I can use the spacer again. But that's just an easy and convenient way. The spacer is the same size as the grout line, so it cleans it right out. Here I'm going to give you a short lesson on how I cut tile. I need these tiles cut at 3 3/4 inch. That's what this one is. So once I've measured it and marked it and cut it, I'm going to actually use this one as the template for the next one. And I keep a Sharpie marker, and I just put a little mark in the corner. You can just a tiny little black dot, and I can line that black dot up in the center of my tile cutter. Once you've done the first one, you can actually see where it falls on this little chart. There's a little set of graduated lines that mark off, so I can put the next one right to the same spot. But this cutter I actually is a push cutter. So there's a diamond blade, or I'm sorry, carbide blade. I'm just going to put it down onto the tile, slide it forward. Let's put this down for a second. I'll slide it forward, and then I'm just going to put weight down on this centerpiece. It's just going to crack right off. So now I've cleaned up all the thin set that was excess. I'm going to go out and mix up another batch. You can see that this last row is going to become a cut row. The way that I handle a cut row like this is I make a cardboard template to show me what my cuts are going to be. So I actually make a template of that exact angle, if you can imagine, from the straight line to the cut line. And I use that cardboard template then to lay out and cut my row for the top. Because once I get the angle right, it's the same angle the whole way up. Each tile is going to become progressively longer, so I'm just going to have to adjust it, and it's easier if you just make one big cardboard template to work with. You can see that I've run this right to the edge here. I've kept a nice clean edge. I've also left a grout line. Make sure you leave enough space to get some grout in that little space in the edge, because you really need to get grout. Grout keeps water from getting in behind your tile and causing problems later. So here it all is now. The tub surround's all done. You can see this edge cut in up here to the ceiling. This is tile over tile. This whole surround was tile over existing tile. You do not need to remove the existing tile if the substrate is okay. You'll see I put in this stone floor. I still have to grout it one last time after I grout the wall, because I'm grouting the walls with light colored grout, and I'm going to be doing the floor with dark colored grout, so I haven't finished the floor yet. I'm also going to be turning this threshold right here. I'm using a black marble tile like what I put here on the floor. So I'm going to do the threshold today. Five pieces across the top, 5 pieces across the front, and 5 pieces across the back. And then I'll begin to grout. So by the end of today I should have this all grouted up, and tomorrow I'll grout the floor, or maybe I'll get the floor done today as well. So we'll see. That's it. Yeah, so Steve here. This is just going to show you the finished product here. Here's the floor all grouted, and the walls are all done. You can see the door is in place now. We put this sliding door in. There's the threshold now that's all grouted with, that's covered with that marble that carries from the floor, so you can see right into the floor, onto the marble. And the door slides. Basically, here's the finished tub surround. So now you can see in here, there's the marble threshold. I basically set the door halfway across, halfway in between the two. And at the edge here, because as I said this was tile over tile, To finish this edge, I just took some grout and ran a slight beaded edge there, just a flat edge to finish off that edge. You can see here, I haven't done this one yet. I'm just getting ready to do it, but you can see that it's still got a little tile. I'll just run a bead of grout down there. This was another bathroom that had tile that was in good shape but was ugly. I've gone ahead and I did natural stone on the floor. I went right over the old floor. And again in the walls as well, I went right over the old tile with this travertine marble tile. You can see it comes right into the old tub I never replaced. And you can see what I did. I actually used a bullnose edge here on this edge. Because the wall was so thick, I wanted to hide the fact that there's 2 layers of tile in there. So I just used a bullnose piece, actually a pencil edge, and covered it up. But this is another tile over tile job. And when you get this all done, it's a beautiful bathroom. And it was a whole lot easier than trying to rip out the entire surround and re-cement board it. And the bathroom looks great now. So that's that.